I just heard something that struck me as remarkably true, and I wanted to share it with you and talk about it a little bit. And what I heard was something to the effect of our workplace culture is the sum experience of your employees' experience over the last few months, over the last 1 or 2 months. It's not something you have written down, no matter what your intent is. What is the average experience of your employees over the last couple of months? That is your workplace culture. How is it going right now? How has it been going recently? That is the culture. It's not what it used to be. It's not what you want it to be. It's in the here and now. Often as leaders, and a lot of leaders are visionary and they're working towards a better future, so we sometimes can over-rely on vision. Gallup has done a bunch of research to show that employees have 4 basic needs that we need to pay attention to: trust, compassion, stability, and hope. And I think all leaders, based on how they're wired, may over-rely on one, but something I see a lot of leaders doing, especially right now, is maybe over-relying on hope. So a hope for a different and better future. Now, it's very possible that you have a strong vision, you know where you're going. It is good and it's going to be exciting when you get there, and you are putting all the framework and structure in place right now to make it work. And that's wonderful. And that certainly does bring hope to the people that are working there, especially if they understand it and understand their role in it and understand what it could be like in the future. Leaning on hope is great. And sometimes we underestimate or ignore or don't pay as much attention to those other 3 needs: trust, compassion, and stability. Trust. Actually, let me start with compassion. Compassion. Do they know you care? And do they know you see them and hear them and feel where they're at right now? If things have been really hard, you just talking about what the future could bring doesn't necessarily help them feel like you see them, you hear them, and you understand them right here and now. In fact, sometimes we can kind of lean into toxic positivity when we do that too much. And that'll be a different post for a different day. Trust. Do they trust your word? Do they trust that this future that you're building is something that's possible? Do they trust that you are reliable and sincere and making decisions that are in their best interest? And then stability. So there's been a ton of change in the last 2 years. And the change you're hoping for may still lead to a better future, and it still means a lot of change and change is hard. It's destabilizing. And stability is something that we need. So what can you do to bring a sense of security to your people here and now while you're working towards the future? So I do a lot of work with clients where we are really mapping out what the intention is for the culture and for what we want and what our cultural expectations are. And the reality is, if your employees aren't getting those 4 needs met, culture is going to suffer. And it has to do with how they're experiencing it here and now, or recently in the last month or 2, not what's possible in the future and not what used to be. Employees experiencing your culture is defined by what's happening right now.